Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 390 at scavengerlife.com.
Okay, Ryan, I'm a little bit afraid that I'm going to bore you today. So...
Don't bore me.
Doing numbers
Yes.
is important.
Yes.
We always say that. If anyone's heard our podcast before or, hung out with us on the forum, we're always talking about doing our numbers. And when someone new comes on, and we share them every week. We say how much we sell, how much those items cost us, and then when someone new comes on the forum, oftentimes they get invited to share their numbers too. And when people come on with like really good numbers, like a woman recently came on and she made $7,000 in a week. And she
Which
says,
is crazy.
And she says that that's like a normal week. Well, actually, she said that like this is her slowest time of a year. So it's like, so everyone's asking, okay, so let's talk about those numbers. How much does it cost you to buy those items? Right. Where you're getting them? She's mainly selling clothes. I mean, just incredible, right?
Yeah.
However, sometimes when we start talking about numbers, I get in over my head because, we're not, I hate to say this, like we're not really business people in the sense of like having gone to school and like I would not feel comfortable in a corporate environment where people are talking about quarterly numbers and projections. I don't know how to do stuff like that.
Right.
I've always said, we keep our numbers just on a text document, money in, money out.
That's you.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. It doesn't get that complicated for us. So when people start talking about like, well, how much do you make per hour on eBay?
Right.
Like treating it yourself as if you're an employee of your own business and trying to get down to, it's because I don't like that,
Right.
I've never done that before.
I mean, it makes sense. You're like,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think the tough thing though for us is, our income fluctuates so much that you're like,
well,
how do you? You can calculate it.
I know where the thinking's coming from, especially people who are like working full-time jobs and they're like, well, if I do this full-time and I quit my job, how much will I be making? At my job, I was making $30 an hour or $50 an hour. If I go to eBay, will I make the same amount of money and will that make me feel good doing that? Or
right.
And, I guess it comes from the idea of like, if you run your business, you have to pay it yourself first, That's a thing people say.
Right, except like everyone I know who runs a business does not pay themselves first.
Yeah, well, that's the problem.
But yeah.
And so I was thinking about it, and I was talking about it on the forum with people is, I think for us, trying to calculate like how much we make per hour on eBay is like the wrong lens for us to see our business, because I think it would make me depressed.
Yeah.
If it was lower than I think it should be, like if it was $15 an hour or something, I don't know.
But isn't there a counter argument that if it is too low, then you're doing something wrong, or not wrong, but you need to shift how you're doing things?
No, I think that's the exact reason why people do it. I guess we come at it from a different point of view, and this is it.
Right.
Okay, so that was a big
intro.
It's set up. That the way I think we come at it is we're building a life and not really a business.
Right.
And I'm not sure if this is going to be correct, but this is how I've been thinking about it. When the reason why I have problems figuring out how much money we make per hour is that like a lot of what we do these days, because we've evolved our business, our life, is that things don't feel like work. Tell me if I'm wrong. Packing feels like work.
Yeah.
Right. But when we go to an auction, like on a Friday night, we call it like our date night.
Right.
Does that feel like work to you?
Well, it's not even, I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing to say, does it feel like work? Because it is work. But you've taken yourself out of that 9-to-5 office. Like we've integrated it into our lives.
Right.
It's part of what we do. We do have to do it to make money, but you don't feel like you are in the daily grind.
I guess I feel like when people start debating on how much they make per hour, and they're really getting it down to like exact numbers, I feel like the motivation is, this is work for me. I don't like doing it, so I need to make sure my cost per hour, my payment per hour is really good because I hate it, because that's what we all do when we work, know, we're like, I don't really want to be here, but as long as they're paying me enough, I guess it's okay. Right. We even do that like in the contract work we do,
Sometimes,
I mean, we don't love it necessarily, but we make sure we're getting paid as much as we can for that. And I guess with eBay, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, it's just, it stopped being about exactly how much we're making per hour. It's just like, are we doing things that we enjoy? And once something starts to feel like work, instead of thinking like, well, I better be paid a lot of money for what I'm doing, we're like, I don't want to do things that feel like work.
Right.
So we've evolved our business, and we've talked about it many times. We tried selling on Amazon.
Yeah.
We hated it.
Yeah.
So we just don't do it. Even if we could have made more money than if we were, it wasn't enjoyable enough for me to continuing to try and figure out how to make more money doing that.
Right. Well, I think also what we talk about is, we do keep track of our numbers. We keep track of our numbers weekly, and, we do have to make sure our bills are paid. It's not like we're saying, we do this and we don't really care if we sell or not. That's not true. I mean, we do need to sell stuff to pay our bills. But when it comes to like the super detailed breakdown of like minute by minute work, that's what makes it feel like, is this, you start saying, is this worth my time? Yes or no. And if the answer is no, then you're going to go into like an existential crisis.
We're living this life instead of working for someone else and, passing up the possibility of promotions and benefits and all the good stuff that can come from working from somebody else. I mean, we have the luxury to be like, I don't want to do something that I don't like. And I could be making more money if we sold like wholesale, we could go down that route. But I don't like doing that. I mean, I guess if I was sitting in front of like a business audience, one of those like things where everyone's like, talking about business and they're getting crazy excited, I'm making irrational choices. We are making irrational choices because we're making choices that don't necessarily make us more money. We're doing it because we just want to have a better quality of life.
Right.
Like we list it and forget it. And I know it drives some people crazy. Like we have new people come to our forum and they think it's so crazy that we will just list something and not really ever look at it for a couple of years sometimes.
Yeah.
We don't reprice things. We don't go every 30 days and end it and try and fool eBay to think it's a new item. We just, why? Because it's a better quality of life for us. Right. And it's irrational.
Right. In business terms.
In how much money we're making per hour.
Right.
But on the other side of the equation, it is so I mean, I feel like a millionaire with our lifestyle.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Right. So, how I think of it too is, we always say this, it gives us our freedom. But like, I've heard people comment on the podcast before where they're like, I never understood that before. Like, I never understood what you were saying before. And you're like, you have the flexibility to, like today, we are going to New York City for 2 weeks. How could you, I mean, like, at what point would an employer be like, that's crazy,
Right.
So it's like you said, we're building a life and, we do keep track of how much we make and we invest it into other businesses so that, we don't have to be employees. So we don't have to, keep track of every minute we're working.
Well, I mean, I think that's the interesting thing. So all that being said, the touchy-feely stuff about things we enjoy and not doing things we hate, it's ironic that even though we're not sitting there in a spreadsheet day by day trying to make the numbers bigger, I think if you enjoy what you do and really put a lot of time into it, the money seems to come.
Right.
It's not guaranteed. I think a lot of it is a luck in many senses, like, you know, where we ended up moving, you know, the community we're in, just choices we've made. But I think that luck is something you also make. Because you're willing to take chances.
Well, luck is a really weird phrase, because there was some talk on the forum saying, like, some people live in expensive areas, some people have lots of dependents. And for us, we definitely on purpose made a decision to move to a place where living was really cheap. That was not by accident.
Right.
So, and we also don't have children, and we're not planning on having children. And that's very much on purpose, in my opinion. I mean, I see people who have children who are struggling, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. So that's not luck. That's a conscious decision. Right. So,
and thank God for the people that do have children. Continuing the human race.
Yes, thank you for doing that. We
salute you. But I think that's a good point. Is that, you know, everything's your choice where we live. You know, if we want to have kids or not have kids.
Right.
But that's a thing I love. Like, for instance, people that have children. I love the people. You know, they will be like, I get to be at home.
Yes.
I can be at home when my kids come home from school, or because I work at home, I can go pick them up.
Exactly.
Or I'm homeschooling them, so I'm at home all the time. I mean, that isn't really seen on like a balance sheet.
Right.
You know? Like, that doesn't equate into how much they make per hour. That is
it's
just
like
this.
priceless.
Yeah, this is like this thing where it's, you know, it is so valuable.
Yeah.
But it's not seen in that, you know, dollar amount. And so I guess I'm always stressing, like, it's always a balance. Yes, you got to know, we have to know our numbers. We have to know how much money we're making. We need to know how much our expenses is. And those numbers, well, what we bring in has to be more than what we spend. We all have to do that. Like, there is no shortcut around that.
Right.
But beyond that, it starts to becoming something that I'm just not familiar with other kinds of numbers.
Well, the other thing, too, is honestly for me, I mean, I'm an artist. I come from an art background. And, you know, I see people on the forum, and like Troy, like you talked to Troy recently. We're going to publish that soon. And, you know, he is very much he enjoys it. He enjoys the data. He enjoys the spreadsheets. That is what he is passionate about. And there are several people like that. I don't care about that stuff at all. That stuff makes me want to hide under a blanket. Like, I'm just like, I can understand it, and I've done spreadsheets, and I appreciate spreadsheets. I just don't want to do them.
I have not done spreadsheets.
Okay. I think you would love spreadsheets, by the way.
I don't know how to do it.
I think you would actually become a spreadsheet nerd, just so you know.
But you know, I agree. I think he would agree with everything we're talking about, you know, with like, I mean, I think that's the reason why he left his job was to spend more time with his family and have that freedom.
Yes.
He just, I think, also enjoys doing numbers in a way that I don't know how to do.
But I just want to touch on that interview with Sophia Almarosa. I think that's how you say her name, from Nasty Gal. She was like, you know, she had an eBay business. She grew it into this huge vintage clothing thing. She got funding because she literally said this in the podcast that we linked to the other week. She was like, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I thought that's what business was. You grow and grow and grow and grow and grow and you become like a billionaire or whatever. And she went bankrupt. I mean, she probably has money, but still. But what I'm saying is, like, her business crumbled before her. And it was because it became something she didn't like, didn't understand. You know, other people took control. So it's that idea of, we've talked about this forever. You always have to be growing. You always have to be expanding. You always have to, and we're like, we don't want to do that.
I mean, I think that's a good point. I guess just, I think when I start talking to numbers with people and it gets so kind of abstract, I just always try to remind it's myself and other people that, why are we doing this? Like, if the whole goal is just to make money, then you need to like know those details, and it's like some game, and it's just like an endless pursuit of more and more of money.
Yeah.
But for us, the money is just a means to an end. And
exactly.
What is that end? For us is owning our time.
Right.
Waking up without an alarm clock.
Yep. Deciding what I do all day.
Yeah. I mean, being able to be together as much as we want to, I mean, that's, as long as that's happening, it's a huge success.
Right.
Not, am I making $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $100,000, it's just, we have a number.
Right.
But it's that kind of abstract thing that's really the goal.
Right. It's like this week is a good example. So we came back from our video job in Florida, and then we had a week to do stuff, and then we go, to New York. In that week, we had so many very different things that needed to happen, and they all got done. It's not talking about not working. Like, that's not what we're talking about. I'm not like, well, I do eBay so I don't have to do anything else. It's like, no, I do eBay so that I can work on all these other things, and it's none of it's passive income. None of it requires you to do nothing, like we worked our asses off this week, but I got to, get up at any time I wanted to. I could take a nap in the middle of the day. I could, start watching Netflix at 6:00 and be done. It's just like,
we could eat lunch together.
It's like, we ran a bunch of errands in the next city over 2 days in a row.
How much did you make per hour?
Right,
That's what I want to know.
So while stuff was selling, while my employee was working, while our rentals were going, and you're like, what is that worth? I don't know.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, and just to kind of wrap this up, and then we'll go on to our numbers. We did a podcast back in 2013. We called it like our mom and pop approach to.
It was like episode 68.
That was kind of like my idea way back then, like, of thinking of what we were trying to do, because that was like, remember 5 years ago was when on a YouTube, especially hot and heavy Amazon,
people were crazy about
they're
Amazon.
making like $100,000 a month, and it's all good, but I think people, or at least I was getting confused of like, are we doing something wrong?
Right.
Like, all these people are like making all this money supposedly. We all learned that was all, it's gross profit, not their net profit because of all that. But I mean, that's why I was like, no, so what we're doing is like a mom and pop business. That kind of idea of like America that I think everyone loves to have, like old time America.
Small business.
What was old time America? Little families having a small business on Main Street, making enough money for their life. They are their own boss. They send their kids to school. They're never going to become millionaires. Right. But they own their life. Right. That's exactly what I see our business as being. Yeah. Honest, authentic. Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like anything in the economy, really. I mean, it reminds me of the financial independence movement, where people stash away all this money while they're working, while they're young, and then they put it into like index funds or mutual funds or whatever. And, they have a percentage that comes back every year that they can live on, but they're not living on millions of dollars a year. They're like, how can I make this go as far as I can? So it's a similar thing where they're like, how can I have the quality of life I want without having to have a job, living on like, Mr. Money Mustache is like that. He's like, he's super frugal. He's, and how can I live on, like $30,000 for my whole family for a year, so it's a similar idea.
It's the exact same thing when we talked to Jim about that.
Right.
We talked about that, a 4% rule.
Exactly. So it's not an unheard of idea with, I feel like, younger people too, where we're like, yeah, I don't need to be a millionaire. That'd be cool, but
yeah. And again, to just end this, I only brought this up on a forum in here just because it's not to argue with anyone about what numbers are right or wrong, but just to, if there are new people, I always hate when I'm new somewhere, when I get overwhelmed by things that seem too complicated, and I just want to keep it real simple. If you have a goal of you're trying to make money to send your kid to college, or you're trying to make money to live at home and homeschool your kids, you're trying to make money because you're retired and you don't make enough in Social Security, have a simple goal, figure out what that its number is, and then just do the work to make that its number, and then don't get overwhelmed by anything else. Like, that's, if you succeed in that, you're a success, in my mind. No other numbers are important.
Yeah. And, if you want to break it down to the minute and the hour, you should do that. Like, if that's what makes sense to you, you should definitely do that. But for me, as like a creative person, you get to a point where you're like, I don't want to hate my life right now. I just want to, do what I'm doing, and it's working, and it's fun and it's enjoyable, and I feel, like I like my life. So, it seems so simple. It seems so simple. Like your life. I do.
Okay, so let's talk about our numbers. We do this every week.
How much did you make an hour?
So we've been doing this almost since the beginning of our podcast, where we decided. I remember when we started doing this podcast.
Why did we decide that? I'm curious.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I would love to know.
The origin story.
I would love to know.
So we started this podcast way back when, what was it, 2013 or something?
2012, 2013,
with our friends Mikey and Wendy.
Yeah.
They were with us for about a year, I think, in this podcast. And then they just kind of decided they wanted to go off and do other things.
Yeah.
But while we were doing it, it's with them, and we'd be talking every week about just what we're doing here.
Yeah.
About our business, about what we're doing. I was like, we need to ground this in reality. Like, here we are, we're talking about finding things and selling them. But I know if I was hearing this, I'd be like, well,
how much did you make?
Yeah, like, are you making
what did you make?
$200? Are you making $1 million?
$1,000?
Yeah. And it's just like when we tell anyone that we sell on eBay.
Yeah.
Because I don't tell them, I sell on eBay and I make X amount of dollars.
Right.
I always think like their first instinct is, they probably make a couple $100.
Yeah, like it's a hobby, little sell stuff in your house.
But, I also didn't want to be where people think we're like a millionaire.
Right.
So we started doing our numbers every week, and they're what we need to have the life we have,
Yeah.
And then that also helps when we've always had forums and a comment thing where I like when people come in and they share their numbers too, and then it gives us these concrete ability to talk to each other about how we run our business.
Well, it also helps you keep. Part of it for me always was this week felt really slow. And we didn't make any money. It's like, well, did you or didn't you, or did you sell a few high dollar items but the rest was slow and you definitely succeeded in your goals? It was things like that where we would always just say, well, was it a slow week, or was it a really good week, or was it an average week? And what's the average for you? That helps so much.
Yep. So we sold 40 items this week.
Oh, it felt like it.
And we made, so it's Saturday, so we still have the end of the day. But as of right now, we made about $1,900.
Ooh.
Which isn't bad.
Yeah.
The way I do that in my head is, $1,900, that's more than $200 a day.
Yeah.
If we're making over $200 a day, I'm super happy.
$300 a day is the best.
But I will say, it is not, it does not feel like the holidays for us.
No.
Now, other people have shared their numbers on our, its forum, and they're doing, it seems like better, or they feel like, their holidays are here.
I just think it's it fluctuates.
But, like I was reading the newspaper today.
Yes.
Online.
Yeah.
And there's like articles of like stock market, a worst it's been in years, like, all market gains have been erased overnight. It's just like, I feel like there's some economic tension in the air.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of like 2008. I mean, I'm not saying there's going to be a crash. Who knows? But
it's
there's that tension, and I don't know. Maybe that's keeping people from spending like they normally do.
Right.
But anyway, we're selling.
Well, we
were selling back in 2008 too.
Yes, that's when we started.
Yeah.
The other issue I find is I have to change our handling time. So I just changed our handling time last night before I went to bed. And, that puts a kibosh on sales sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I saw that people can still, like, the post office will guarantee that an item will get to you at Christmas time if you deliver priority. I think it was December 22nd.
Oh my God. Okay. Does not help us. So I really need to make sure I send people notes like we're away, which stinks because they might cancel, but
it is
what it is.
This is our choice to do.
Right.
Okay. Things we sold. I don't know what it is. It takes hair off your body.
It's almost like this, like, it's not electrolysis, which I think is like laser, and it's not a razor. I think what it does is it, like, instead of shaving, you like burn the hair off your body. It's like this little, we found it at a thrift store.
Anyway,
we were like, what is this thing?
I saw it at a thrift store.
I think it was $8.
In like it's glass case.
Yeah.
Place. And this is one of those examples of where, I've been trying this, where if I see something I think will sell well, I'll pay up for it. I think I paid $10 for it.
No, I think it was $8. It was $7 or $8, which is expensive.
And that's more than what we normally spend.
Yeah.
But it sold in about a week.
A week, yeah.
And it sold for $100.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was that happened this morning. It was like, whoa.
We sold a chocolate pot.
Yeah.
Which is like a little teapot that I guess people melt chocolate in, right? Is that what that is?
In the old-fashioned world, when people would make, like, it was like hot chocolate, but it
sold for $85.
Can you tell the brand? Is it
Herond,
yeah, because they're really famous for doing those little like bunnies with feathers on them. It's so random, but it's a high-end brand.
But I only bring it up because it sold from that table of pottery that we had bought, those tables we had bought at an auction.
Yeah.
And
we've been selling that stuff, actually.
Yeah, for the past month or so, every week we've been selling a couple of those pieces, big plates.
Oh my God, this huge platter. Did we talk about that platter?
We did.
It was 22 inches. The thing was massive.
Yeah. Thank God we have a peanut dispenser.
I don't know if now's the time to talk about the peanut dispenser, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah, hang on real quick. But I do want to say, that makes me feel good. I'm just talking to us.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me feel good. We've been selling that pottery stuff.
Yes, we have. People have been wanting it.
Because, we were concerned about it. We got these tables really cheap. So much of it. It takes up so much room because you can't really stack it.
Yeah.
But it's been selling,
Yeah, it's been selling.
Plates,
yeah.
the
good thing is we bought that stuff because we could see it was high-end brands and quality porcelain.
But, it worried me because some people came on the forum and they were like, unless it's really special, no one's going to pay those prices. But we've been getting really good prices.
Yeah,
for stuff.
I mean, it stinks to pack that stuff because you're
and we're definitely amateurs when it comes to selling specifically like
right. I mean,
pottery.
I can spot some brands and I can spot materials where I'm like, oh, that's like a high-end, porcelain. Or whatever.
It just reminds me it's okay if you're an amateur and everything, as long as we do the research, we look at solds, we put it up, and people buy it.
Well, what I think is funny sometimes when I was talking to my helper, and I was explaining, like, she was taking pictures of some pottery and glass, and I'm like, well, this is this, and this is this maker mark, and she's like, how do you know that? And I'm like, it's just, I mean, I don't know a lot, but I know enough to know what I bought, so that's a good feeling and actually I was teaching her about, if you see this mark, it's this, like whatever. So that was kind of fun. Like, oh, I actually do, this stuff is like up here in my head. I mean,
our friend told us that once, if you just spend an hour researching something, you'll probably know more than 80% of people on the planet for that thing in just an hour.
Yeah.
If you spend, a week or read a book about something, you'll probably know more than 99% of people on the planet about that thing. Just because people don't know things about things. You know, you have to research. It doesn't take long to quickly learn about something, and we learn that in eBay all the time. We'll pick something up, some a knife, and we look at the brand. We follow a search, and we kind of read. We see the high dollar items. Suddenly, in a very short time, I know the 5 top selling names of knives, and now that's in my head, and now I'm a better scavenger.
Well, and also I think it helps to recognize materials when you pick something up and you're like, this feels cheap. You can tell when you're buying stuff that you're like, this, I don't know what this is, but this is something, that's like the scavenger, spidey sense. You're like, I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess my point is you don't have to have years of experience. I mean, that stuff helps in the people that are really into a niche. It's they really know stamps, and they know deeply about stamps, and that's cool. But you can also learn kind of a lot of stuff really quickly and sell that stuff. Right. Okay. Talk about the peanuts because it makes me feel good.
The peanut dispenser. This thing takes up so much room in my office. It's ridiculous. But
it's like a tent.
Yeah, it's huge.
A small baby tent.
I mean, I took a picture of it for the thumbnail image a couple of weeks ago, but it makes it so easy because number one, the peanuts are in my office. Before they were in the back building, I would have a little bag of peanuts, and it was just, I'm scooping it out with a bowl. It's just oh my God. But because we sold, that platter was huge. I actually sold 2 platters. One was a little bit smaller than that.
For Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas and cooking and stuff like that. So it helped so much because I'm just you open the dispenser and you're fill up the bottom. Okay, put the thing in. Now fill up everything around it. I have to buy more peanuts now because I'm I'm using so many of them. But it's
that makes me feel
helpful.
So good.
At first I was like, this thing's a pain. I'm not going to get this
thing. We had a fight about buying this thing.
Did we really? Yes. We had an actual
I was
fight.
let's buy this. You're why do we want to buy this?
Number one, I didn't want to spend $170 at Uline. I was like, I'm not paying. That's no way. And I was like, where am I going to put this thing? It's huge. It's for a warehouse, We do have a warehouse. Our friend who was helping me install it, he was like, do you want to just put this in the back building? Why are you putting this here? And I was like, this is where I pack and ship. I have to have it here. Yep. I know it's impractical and weird, but I'm and I love it.
But you know what?
You can just take it down if you don't need it.
I think that's a good example of how small additions to our business
can really improve
change
everything
things dramatically.
I mean, it's changed. It's so helpful.
I mean, something we've been talking about for so long, but it came up this coming week is we don't have an inventory system some people have, where there's a grid system with numbers and
we have some things numbered, which helps little lots of things,
but we still store 8,000 items in a large warehouse is just in bins where we know items. All the books are here and this is where all the metal pots are and it's labeled. But if we were to have someone go and try and find something, it would be one of those weird archaic things they would really have to kind of learn over time. Yeah. And we've been talking about that, we have to at some point
do an inventory system. The reason I got really frustrated was I sold a bunch of books, mostly cookbooks and historical books this week, probably for Christmas. And we have 4 big bins of books. And I was just standing there and I was like, I have to look through all these bins because I don't know where this book is. Yeah. It might be in the first bin. If it's not, I'm sitting there for a half an hour taking books out. I mean, obviously we should just put stuff on a bookshelf, but
talking about making our life better, we were hating taking pictures of things. Yes. So we took the steps and hired someone, and now we don't take pictures anymore, except for like
very
special
rare,
items.
yeah, very rare.
But that's made our life good. Now our next step is in the next a year. I would love to hire someone to pack for us. But in order for someone to pack, they have to pull stuff, and that's why we need to do this. So anyway, that's
a whole other thing.
Okay, customer issues. So this week was tough.
Yes, it
because two things happened. Number one, the post office, they lost a sleeping bag, and they delivered a package that was opened, and the item was lost.
Yep.
So the buyers, of course, are upset, and we understand that. And we just had to return their money. And, it was first class, so there was no...
Right. Well, one was first class, one was like parcel. No
insurance on them.
Yep.
And you just had to eat it. One was like an $80 sleeping bag, one was like a $40 little thing.
Yeah.
Painful.
Oh, don't tell me about it. And then there were like 2 other returns on top of that.
And then there were 3 returns.
3. It's just
on top of that.
Just regular didn't fit items.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing that we had done wrong, but they just chose
really
not to have
eats
it.
into your, your money.
That's it.
Well, no. So the other thing was I got negative feedback from a global shipping customer that was mad that I couldn't combine shipping.
And they have every right to do that, but the anger should be put towards eBay,
it's not me,
and not us.
I even went out of my way to write this paragraph, which usually I don't.
But let me talk about it real quick. So if someone buys through a shipping program,
this person was in Singapore.
They bought 2 items, but eBay puts them as different transactions.
Yeah.
And then they require you to ship it in different boxes.
Yep.
And there's no way to combine it.
Right.
Even though it'd be so easy to. And we even called eBay, can't we just combine
I was
this?
like, can you combine this?
And they're like, no,
for me?
when it gets to the Kentucky warehouse, they're going to look for 2 different boxes.
Right.
If they're not in there, then there's going to be a problem.
There's a problem.
There's nothing we can do. And so the buyer gave us a negative feedback. But, because he said why, because we couldn't combine it, eBay took it away because it's not our fault.
Right. So the thing that I tried to do, because I was a little bit nervous, he's going to be mad when he gets these because of the combined shipping stuff, I wrote a pretty detailed paragraph saying what you just said.
They don't care. Yeah.
No, it's not about the customer. It's about eBay seeing that I, said that to them, so that they're not like, didn't you explain it to them? Because they asked that stuff on the phone. So I'm like, I'm just going to try to cover myself. Maybe it'll make him feel better. If it doesn't really matter, because then eBay will say that at least I talked to my customer. Yeah. And that worked. Yep. I called eBay. They were like, you're right. And I kind of laughed with the rep where I was like, I wish we could combine shipping with global shipping. It would be so great. She's like, I know.
Yeah,
trust me, I know.
It's simply a software thing,
Yeah, it's just the way they do it. So that was good.
But,
well,
a refund.
They got my back.
Returns. It's just part of the business, and you just
it's painful sometimes. Yeah. But honestly, if I look at all the stuff we sold in the last couple weeks, because I shipped 65 items. Did I not mention that when we got home? I shipped 65 items last Monday, and most of those have been fine. I mean, stuff's still getting delivered, but it's been. I have to remember that. I have to look at the list of stuff we sold, and I'm like, that person loved it. That person got it.
Okay, and then things we learned in the forum where we talked about a lot of stuff. But there was one interesting story. So Mark on the forum, Mark S.
Yeah.
So he said he went to an estate sale 3 years ago.
Yes.
And bought a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
Like we all do. He put it up on eBay. The stuff is on eBay.
For 3 years.
Up for 3 years. He had a woman contact him saying, that stuff was sold by accident. That's my stuff. You need to give it to me. And he was like, what? I have costs associated. This is between you.
I bought this stuff, yeah.
But, he's like, I don't know. He's a saint.
He's a saint.
He kept talking to her. He was willing to, he says, okay, I'll give it to you. Just pay me my costs. And they met in a parking lot, and he gave it to her. And she said that she just seemed ungrateful. And it was interesting hearing people's different reactions to it. I mean, number one, that's his personal a preference to be in the holiday spirit and to give this stuff to this lady. He had no obligation to give that stuff to her outright.
Now, I do just want to say, he said she did provide where it was sold and when. Sure. So it wasn't like she was just making it up. Right, no, she actually knew where I got this.
Because I'm sure anyone that's sold on eBay long enough has had this happen where someone writes to you and says, oh, this sweater, that was my dad's, can I have it cheap? And it's like, come on, is it I think our users are running a scam on me or whatever. I mean, we've had that.
Or we've had artwork where someone's like, this was my great aunt. Right. So just give this to me. And we're like, yeah, no.
Right. And so, so no one ever has an obligation. If it was sold by accident, that's between that person and the estate sale. Especially if it was 3 years ago. Yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah.
But he did a nice thing. It's too bad she was unhappy about it. I mean, for me, when people are like, this is so special to me. That's a photo of my grandfather.
Give it to me for free.
You should give it to me. I'm like, no. You should pay me because I saved this from probably the trash.
Yeah.
You should be grateful that you can even get it back.
At all. So that I found it and then you found it. Happy. Anyway. But it's never like that.
I feel bad for Mark, but, she treated him badly. But, good for him for being a nice guy. But, I think but in my mind, I treat those people like you got to have boundaries. Yeah, sure, I'll sell it to you. Maybe I'll give you a deal, but let's just talk about it, Right. But if you start to treat me shabbily and start to say bad things to me, it's like, forget it,
Well, I mean, also with a lot of stuff that we found that this has happened to us, it was found at a thrift store or a garage sale. It was like, somebody got rid of this. Someone in your family got rid of this, didn't think it was worth anything, and now I actually think it's worth something. The sketchbook that we found that was of these amazing outsider art paintings and drawing, they were incredible. These people were like, that's my great aunt, and will you take $20 or something? And we were like, no, these are amazing. And we sold to this kind of well-known artist in LA for $150 because she obviously knew it was awesome. So it was just Yeah, I agree.
But, it's funny how that works, the internet.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we take calls or?
You can email us a voicemail recording from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail. The number is 540-407-8486.
Hi, Ryan and Jay. I'm Libby from Conchi Consignment in Pennsylvania. Started listening a few months ago, and reading the forum is so nice to know there are others out there doing this for a living as well. I want to share my thoughts on unpaid items and what works for me since it has been a topic of discussion. I absolutely love the automated system on eBay for unpaid items. eBay does the invoicing, sends several reminders, opens the unpaid item case, closes it, refunds your fees, and relists the item. Honestly, I never look or pay attention to unpaid items. I think if someone is going to pay, they will. If not, they would probably cause an issue anyway, so why waste valuable time tracking them down? They don't really want our super cool item anymore? Somebody else will. I do have immediate payment on my items, but frequently take offers, and sometimes they are unpaid. But I don't spend a second thinking about it or invest any time. It seems to work really well for me. Just curious about your thoughts and feedback. Thanks again.
Okay, she has so much of a healthier opinion about it. I need to get, she's higher up the mountain than I am, and I mean that in all sincerity. Yeah. We need to get to that point where unpaid items don't bother us so much. It's just, especially when we're having tough weeks, and someone buys an $80 item. It feels like a sale, but it's not a sale till it's paid. It's not a sale till it's shipped, and it's not a sale until
they don't return it.
They don't return it or give you good feedback. Yep. And it's just I've got to let go of the idea of they need to pay. And
well, look, it sounds like I've heard people talk about the unpaid item assistant a bunch, and I'm like, she made it sound so good that I'm like, I should just turn that on. I should just not think about it and just turn it on. I think because for me, the unpaid item manually, you do in 2 days, and people are like, oh, you can do that on the assistant too, but I never saw the ability to do it in 2 days on the assistant.
But who cares if it's 4 days
exactly,
or 5?
right?
I mean, who cares?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Her point is like, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just try it. I mean, and it's funny, in other senses, we're kind of a Zen too, where we're like, if someone's, unhappy, we deal with them, I think, in a good way where we have boundaries and, we answer specific questions, but, we never get into long diatribes against people back and forth. It's just give people a choice and have them make a choice. And then if they don't want to make a choice, we just ignore them because they're not wanting anything. They're just ranting.
Right.
So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I will check out the unpaid.
Be zen. Like the whole point is to not have stress.
Right.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. This is Mark from St. Louis. I just ran across something on eBay I was curious if you guys have ever seen yet. I went to buy some shipping boxes from eBay branded, and I went to pay, and they won't accept PayPal, only credit cards. So I guess they apted into the new system, and PayPal is not available yet. I really don't like that because if I want to buy something, I want to use my PayPal on eBay. So I just wanted to know if you'd seen that yet. Thanks.
Yeah, so because they're like an eBay business, like I don't know if they're run by eBay or they're like some other business, but it's, eBay branded boxes. They use the eBay payment system, that's what they use now. So yeah, the last time I bought boxes, I had to input my credit card, debit card thing, which is the debit card I'm using is my PayPal debit card. So
just so anyone that's unclear, so eBay is slowly implementing a new payment system that eBay kind of owns or is going to be a part of. So they're eventually, I think it's going to be over a couple of years, not have PayPal be the primary.
Right.
So someone can just come into eBay, type in a credit card, and then suddenly they're paying. Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
they don't have a separate PayPal account.
I mean, it was fine. I mean, Amazon does that. My credit card's just saved, and you just buy
it's just
stuff.
Different. It's just
you just have to get your card
and
out.
It's just the whole thing of just people who buy on eBay on a regular basis. They're accustomed to paying with PayPal, and so you have this new thing, and so hopefully eBay will handle this correctly and
it was a little bit of a pain, but I didn't see a problem with it.
Yeah, this is Warren, and I listened to your show today about your automatic return accepted. Well, that just happened to me today, ironically. So I called eBay, and they went ahead and explained to me that it was a setting that I had, which I never did, but they apparently, it fictitiously appeared on my account. But he walked me through how to get rid of that so I could actually communicate with the buyer before returns are happening. So what you can do is click your user ID and then click account settings. And then you'll come to, on the left side, it'll say my eBay views. Then you go down and you click site preferences. And then you scroll all the way to the bottom where it says return preferences. And you can click that, and then it'll show you the preferences that are on your account, and you could delete both of those so then it'll be normal like it was before. But they said that they don't do that automatically. It has to be on our account. So whoever you guys talked to before fed you some stuff. I went ahead and took it off of mine, so no returns will be accepted automatically. And they did say that it's part of the money back guarantee program. So I guess if the only thing that I'm going to be losing on my account is the money back guarantee wording, so be it. But I thought I could help you guys out with that because I was wondering too, and I was very upset, but I'm good now. So thanks.
Okay, so some people were saying about the automatic returns that it was a setting within your returns preferences, and it's actually not. I went and turned off all my automatic, exception rules and just turned them all off, and stuff's still getting automatically accepted. And I just think it's a universal eBay rule now that stuff is just I don't know if it's just for some anchor sellers or if it's for everyone, but according to the summer seller update, it's a thing called Simplified Returns, and eBay's just like, yep, everything's auto accepted. If you accept returns,
and also, back in the day, like not too long ago, if someone didn't upload the shipping info of their its return, you could call and close the case.
Right, if they don't ship it back.
You can't really...
Yeah, sure.
eBay will say they're closing it, but if the person ships it within that 30 days, it opens the case back up. So
that happened to me last week.
So we just have to get into a mindset. This is now
that's just how it is.
Like Amazon.
Exactly.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. Calling in. This isn't really a question, but I just thought I'd pass along that in the area where I live, there's a thrift store called the King's Daughters Thrift Store that is closing after 92 years in business. And it's a religious-based organization, but everybody that worked there was a volunteer and wasn't in the same location for 92 years, but it had been part of the community for, a very long time. They survived on, people working there for free and donations of goods, and I assume they got some donations of money somewhere along the way. But anyway, after 92 years, they're closing their doors at the end of this year. Thanks.
Yeah, well, that's that's really too bad when a thrift store like that it closes down.
92 years, that's crazy.
That is incredible.
That's amazing.
I think we've all had that where you kind of have like a list of local thrift stores that you kind of do a loop on. And we've had some of those close down. There's actually one that we go to that's been around, definitely not 92 years.
But for a long time. Yeah, and years and decades.
It would make me so sad
if it
closed down.
And also, like, a lot of those organizations, like you're saying, it was a religious organization. A lot of times what they're using their money for is to help people in the community. Yeah. Like, the one that we shop at a lot is a food bank. Like that is their primary. They're a food bank and they help people pay bills.
People donate clothes, they sell the clothes, and then they use that money to buy food. And
they get food donated a lot.
And to help people pay like heat bills and stuff like that.
They're amazing for where we live. So if they shut down, the whole community would be hurt. It's
interesting. I mean, 92 years, so we're talking about like the 1920s.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that there were thrift stores back then.
Well, maybe they were an organization and they were helping, people in the Depression and stuff, that's too bad.
And back then people were like donating like Civil War clothes and stuff.
Right.
And like kids were like walking around in Civil War like army gear like punks,
Right. That was the cool look.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. Just want to call with kind of a question or more or less a statement that I just kind of was reading up upon. With it being Christmas time and giving gifts and whatnot, I wanted to tip my U.S. postal carrier. They're a large part of my business, and I schedule pickups at my house every single day. And this is my first year doing that, and I wanted to tip my postal carrier this season. But when I was online and Googling, just trying to figure out, what is customary and what's appropriate in regards to tipping, I came across an article on the United States Postal Service's website in regards to employee tipping, and they actually have a gift receiving policy. It says all employees, including carriers, must comply with standards of ethical conduct for employees and of the executive branch. Under these federal regulations, carriers are permitted to accept a gift worth $20 or less from a customer per occasion, such as Christmas. However, cash and cash equivalents, such as checks or gift cards that can be exchanged for cash, must never be accepted in any amount. Furthermore, no employee may accept more than $50 worth of gifts from any one customer in any one calendar year period. I just kind of was curious on you guys' thoughts and opinions on that. If you guys adhere to that, because I know I've heard you guys mention before that you like to tip your postal carrier, especially around Christmas time. I definitely don't want to do anything that would get my post office carrier in trouble, and just wanted to know kind of what best etiquette would be in this type of situation. Look forward to hearing your thoughts, and thank you again for all you guys do for all of us. You guys are such an inspiration and such a huge help with my business. Thank you very much, and have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, so that is the rule, $20 or less. We've given our carriers
gift cards, and
honey. People do baked goods. If you're like, oh, I'll give them $20 and like some cookies, you know. I mean,
but we definitely love to treat our post office people really good, just because we really feel they're like a part of our business, you know. And just to appreciate those days when it's like raining and they're parked in our driveway and they're going back and forth with packages, like we really
we love our postal carrier, like they're part of our family, basically.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing? Yep, they're great. I totally hear you. Oh, I think part of this question is like you want to be able to tip them more, right? You're like $20, but also what you're hoping, and you know, I learned this early on when we lived in our first neighborhood when we moved here. Most people on our postal route back then, they were giving them tips. Also, so it's like if you can only give them $20, you're hoping all your neighbors are giving them tips too, you know. So hopefully that's true.
All right, so that is the end of the podcast. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com. That's where we have the forum where we talk about all the things we're talking about.
You can always either email us a question. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com, or you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
We post an episode every Monday. We've been doing it for a long time.
Yes.
We're good at it.
We try.
And Wednesday, our friend Steve, he will post a video where he shows what he sells. What sells in his voice is like
He is like a soothing radio voice.
Yep. You can subscribe to our Patreon. It's on our sidebar. And you can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube for free. And you can buy our archive of all of our podcasts. So if you've just found us and you want them all in order, you can go to our sidebar and we actually sell that big archive of podcasts. So you can put it on your iPod.
It's almost 400 episodes.
I know, right? It's crazy. Okay, we are ending this podcast.
In 3, 2, 1, let's get on the train.